It was a night like any other for Jassy Correia and her friends. In this footage, we see the young girls on their way to Venue, a popular nightclub in Boston's theater district, to celebrate Jassy's 23rd birthday. The night stretched out before them, full of endless possibilities and the promise of fun and laughter with loved ones. Little did they know, this ordinary evening would soon take a dark and tragic turn. As the night wore on and the club closed down around 2 a.m., Jassy somehow got separated from her friends and needed to make her own way home. Surveillance footage shows a visibly inebriated Jassy mistakenly getting into what she thought was her Uber ride. But the driver pushed her out of the car, and Jassy continued arguing with him on the sidewalk. It was then that a stranger approached Jassy, holding her hands and trying to make her feel safe, possibly offering to take her home. What Jassy didn't know was that the reason he was holding her hands so tightly was because he was restraining her to prevent her from leaving. This chilling footage captured the moment Jassy was coerced into leaving the area with this unknown man, unknowingly encountering a dangerous predator.
The family of Jassy Correia is worried, unable to contact her since Saturday night.
I'm trying to call her, but the phone is off.
And overnight, police released this video of a man they say they want to speak with. They say he was seen with Correia after she left, later getting into a red Nissan Altima with the man near Tremont and Herald Streets.
Jassy Correia was born in Praia, Cape Verde in 1996. At the age of 3, she immigrated to the United States with her father. She grew up on the North Shore of Massachusetts as part of a loving, close-knit family. From a young age, she was known for her energetic spirit and her genuine kindness. She had a knack for making others feel comfortable and valued, often stepping in to support friends and family whenever they needed her. Jassy was also a devoted mother to her daughter Gabriella, who was just 2 years old at the time of the events that would change their lives forever. Though raising a child as a single parent in her early 20s came with challenges, Jassy faced them with grace and determination, always prioritizing her daughter's happiness and well-being. Family and friends remember Jassy as a beautiful soul, inside and out. Her cousin and best friend Maca de Andrade described her as having an effervescent spirit. She lit up any room she entered with her positive energy and warm presence. Jassy loved to dance and had a passion for photography, often capturing precious moments with Gabriella and other loved ones. She worked as a hostess at Del Frisco's, a restaurant in Boston's Seaport District, to provide for her small family while dreaming of a brighter future for herself and her daughter. Despite her optimistic outlook, Jassy had faced her share of hardships too. Just a year before her death, she suffered a vicious assault at the hands of her baby's father, Miguel Castro. In January 2018, the situation reached a terrifying peak when Castro's attacked her. Court records document the harrowing incident, with Jassy desperately texting her mother a photo of her bruised, swollen face, pleading, "You need to help me. Miguel won't let me leave. Don't call him. He'll kill me." Thankfully, Jassy's mother alerted authorities and Castro was arrested. He was ultimately convicted of kidnapping, assault, and intimidating a witness, and sentenced to 4.5 years behind bars. Determined to break free from the cycle of abuse, Jassy focused on creating a safe, stable life for herself and Gabriella.
Jassy was fun and energetic. She was fun and energetic. She just was a joy to be around. She if you wanted to laugh, Jassy will make you laugh. If you were having a sad day, a miserable day, just go talk to Jassy. She would just make you laugh. She just wanted to make everyone happy, and she was just fun and outgoing.
On the evening of Saturday, February 23, 2019, Jassy was eager to celebrate her upcoming 23rd birthday with a night out in Boston. She got dressed up in a stylish orange jumpsuit, hoop earrings, and a jean jacket adorned with an eye-catching image of red lips and pink wings on the back. Kissing Gabriella goodnight, Jassy entrusted her daughter to her family's care and set off to meet her friends at Venue, a popular nightclub in the bustling theater district. Surveillance footage from inside Venue shows Jassy arriving with her friends as she prepared to dance the night away. For hours, the group drank champagne, moved to the music, and basked in the carefree celebration of friendship and new beginnings. As the clock ticked past 2 a.m. and the club neared closing time, patrons began to spill out onto the cold sidewalks of Tremont Street. In the hustle and bustle of the crowd making their way out, Jassy found herself separated from her friends, who apparently left the area without her, likely assuming she was right behind them or had secured a ride home. It was there, at approximately 2:14 a.m. on February 24th, that cameras captured the first sign that something was amiss. Jassy, visibly intoxicated, could be seen attempting to enter a vehicle she mistook for her Uber ride. The driver, frustrated, pushed her back out onto the sidewalk, made it clear that he wasn't there for her. Disoriented and alone, Jassy stood on the sidewalk, engaging in conversations with various passers-by in the after-hours crowd. It's not known what she says to them, but she was most likely looking for a way to get home. A little distance away from Jassy, a 32-year-old Louis Coleman had been observing her from afar. Seizing an opportunity to take advantage of her vulnerable state, Coleman approached Jassy and attempted to lead her away from the well-lit sidewalk. Grainy footage shows Jassy attempting to pull away as Coleman tightens his grip on her hand, most likely trying to convince her to leave with him. His persistence seems to have paid off, and a short while later, cameras captures him guiding Jassy towards a red sedan parked nearby. In a chilling final frame, Jassy climbs onto Coleman's back before he carries her to the vehicle and they both slip inside. At 2:28 a.m., just 14 minutes after Jassy was first seen outside venue, the red sedan carrying her and Louis Coleman drove off into the night. It would be the last time Jassy Correia was seen alive. As Sunday faded into Monday with no word from Jassy, her family's concern transformed into full-blown panic. Calls and texts went unanswered, their pleas met with the cold indifference of voicemail. By Tuesday, February 26th, Jassy's father, Joaquin Correia, could wait no longer. Accompanied by a family friend, he filed a missing persons report with the Boston Police Department, insisting that his daughter's silence was completely out of character. Detectives launched an investigation, piecing together Jassy's last known movements outside venue. They scoured surveillance footage from the area, identifying the crucial clip showing her leaving with an unknown man in a red sedan. Tracing the vehicle's registration led them to Louis Coleman's mother. The vehicle in fact belonged to her, but she confirmed that Louis would drive it on occasion and that he was out with the vehicle on the night that Jassy went missing. Investigators then turned their attention to Coleman's residence in Providence, Rhode Island, nearly 50 miles from the nightclub where Jassy was last seen. Video from Coleman's apartment complex revealed that at approximately 4:15 a.m. on February 24th, just 2 hours after leaving venue with Jassy, Coleman had pulled into the parking lot and carried a limp body into the building. Despite an exhaustive search, no footage could be found showing Jassy leaving Coleman's apartment in the days that followed. However, cameras did capture Coleman's own suspicious activities. On February 26th, the same day Jassy's father filed the missing persons report, Coleman was seen purchasing a harrowing array of items at Walmart, including duct tape, surgical gloves, safety goggles, and bleach.
He bought 3 Tyvek suits, duct tape, 2 candles, electrical tape, a mask, surgical gloves, safety goggles, an odor respirator, and bleach.
The next day, he returned, this time leaving with a large, unmarked suitcase. Chillingly, in the early hours of February 28th, surveillance cameras captured Coleman wheeling the same suitcase out of his apartment building and struggling to lift it into the trunk of his car. The footage, which would later prove crucial to the investigation, showed Coleman making multiple trips between his apartment and the vehicle, loading numerous trash bags and cleaning supplies in addition to the ominous suitcase. The footage is disturbing in its implications. It's clear that the suitcase is weighed down by more than just clothing or personal belongings. Coleman's difficulty in hoisting it into the vehicle suggests that it contains something much heavier, something that requires significant effort to move. As Jassy's loved ones papered the streets with missing posters and organized search parties, detectives worked around the clock to build a case against Coleman. On February 28th, their efforts paid off when Delaware State Police pulled him over on Interstate 95 near Wilmington.
No hands up in the air! Hands away from me! Is there anybody else in the car? Yes. Yes. Where? In the car.
Inside the trunk, concealed within a sofa cushion cover, black trash bag, and zipped suitcase, lay the battered body of Jassy Correia. An autopsy would later reveal that she had been brutally assaulted, strangled, and suffered blunt force trauma resulting in her death. As news of the grim discovery spread, the city of Boston collectively mourned the loss of a vibrant young mother taken far too soon. The shock and grief that rippled through Jassy's family, friends, and community in the wake of her murder was immeasurable.
Hit me. That's why I took time out of work today and I came to support this family.
People from everywhere. The church was packed, from people who knew her, people who didn't know her, so which shows all the support that the family could need right now.
This family, they need our love, and it's time for this violence to die down, seriously.
And this senseless violence, it has to stop. It is unsustainable. We cannot continue this.
She was just full of life, and she was an excellent mother to our child. And that poor baby will never see her mom again, which is so sad.
On March 9, 2019, hundreds of mourners gathered at St. Peter's Church in Dorchester to bid a final farewell to Jassy Correia. In a heartbreaking display of solidarity, many wore white, while others donned pins and clothing bearing Jassy's smiling face and the phrase, "Justice for Jassy." Through tears, Jassy's loved ones shared memories of her luminous spirit, her unwavering devotion to her daughter, and the irreplaceable void she left behind. The road to justice for Jassy Correia would be a long and arduous one, fraught with delays and the added challenges of a global pandemic. It wasn't until June 2022, over 3 years after Jassy's murder, that Louis Coleman finally stood trial in federal court, facing a charge of kidnapping resulting in death. Prosecutors meticulously built their case against Coleman, presenting a mountain of damning evidence to the jury. Surveillance footage showing Coleman carrying Jassy's lifeless body into his apartment building and later wheeling a large suitcase out to his car painted a chilling picture of the events leading up to her death. DNA evidence conclusively linked Coleman to the crime, with traces of his genetic material found on Jassy's body. Perhaps most disturbing were the details of Coleman's actions in the days following Jassy's murder. His internet search history revealed a series of chilling queries, including, "Can a person fit in a suitcase?" "How to pull a tooth out that's not loose?" and various searches related to cleaning and disposing of a body. Prosecutors argued that these searches, coupled with Coleman's suspicious Walmart purchases, demonstrated a level of premeditation and attempts to conceal his crime. Coleman's defense team attempted to cast doubt on the prosecution's narrative, suggesting that Jassy had approached Coleman on her own volition and that her death was the result of a sudden altercation rather than a planned abduction. They pointed to toxicology reports showing alcohol and traces of drugs in Jassy's system, implying that her intoxication may have played a role in the events leading up to her death. However, the prosecution countered by emphasizing the clear power imbalance between Jassy, a petite 23-year-old woman, and Coleman, who weighed 200 pounds at the time of his arrest. They argued that regardless of how the initial encounter began, Coleman had taken advantage of Jassy's vulnerable state to overpower, assault, and ultimately kill her. As the trial unfolded, Jassy's loved ones packed the courtroom, bearing witness to the painful details of her final moments. Her family members shed silent tears as they listened to testimony describing the unimaginable violence their beloved daughter, sister, and friend had endured. After weeks of emotionally charged proceedings, the case was handed to the jury for deliberation. The air in the courtroom was thick with tension as Jassy's family and supporters awaited the verdict, hoping for a measure of closure and accountability. On June 14, 2022, after just a few hours of deliberation, the jury returned with their decision. Louis Coleman was found guilty of kidnapping resulting in death. The verdict was met with a mix of relief, gratitude, and renewed grief from Jassy's loved ones, who expressed their appreciation for the tireless efforts of law enforcement and prosecutors in securing justice for Jassy. 4 months later, on October 5, 2022, Coleman was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. As Coleman was led out of the courtroom to begin serving his life sentence, Jassy's family and friends embraced one another, united in their grief and their determination to keep Jassy's memory alive.